Welcome back, and today we're going to be going through the Imperfect Hyrox prep. So at the moment, every morning, I'm trying to get 15-20 minutes reading. At the moment, I'm reading Shoe Dog. I can't believe I've never actually read this book, a book by Phil Knight. So many people recommended it to me, and now I can't put it down. Like, for anyone who's going through some kind of struggle or feels like they're not getting to where they want to be, read this book because it will put into perspective how all the successful people that you maybe look up to, the reason why they make it is just through sheer consistency and not giving up. But I'm just going to finish off my morning coffee, finish off the rest of this chapter. Then we're going to make our sups and head out for our, what am I doing today? Then we're going to head out for the threshold run and discuss the logic behind this Imperfect Hyrox prep. The only thing we're going to be taking before the AM run is just the My Protein Hyrox electrolytes. Always take this generally in the morning, like I said in the last video. Get it in first thing. Once you're dehydrated, it's difficult to get back in, but if you can take it any other point in the day, then it's absolutely fine. You can use the link in the description, which will give you, with my code, 10% off, which is my coach Benji, to shop the product. And then I'm just gonna chow down quickly before we leave. On a global line. Now, I don't usually eat before we go and train. As you know, I'm fast in the morning, but we've got quite a tough threshold session today, which I'm gonna talk through as we get into it and what that entails and how it can benefit you. So, I feel like I need a little bit of energy. So today we're going to be doing a threshold session, which for anyone who's not doing threshold work, it's great for working in your zone 4 and zone 5, which for Hyrox is going to be important because it's about running on tired legs, being able to run slower, faster, and improving the VO2 max. Now for me, I've had to take a lot of accountability over the past few months, and that's what this video is about, is the Imperfect Hyrox, because I wanted to be able to work on my weak point over the past 10 weeks, which has been my running, but unfortunately that hasn't happened due to the injury that we picked up just before Hyrox Worlds now, which is probably 3 months ago. So for the past 10 weeks, I've had to do cross training and basically used a bike for a butt plug for the past 10 weeks just to be able to get some cardio in. So we're going to see how that fitness has been able to transfer over to running over the next few weeks and today. So dealing with setbacks, even sometimes I like to have a bit of a moan and a bitch and even get in my own head about things sometimes about when I can't train, because it can be difficult and it can give you a bit of a low point when you're regressing with training. But even with some of these failures and setbacks, whenever they've happened to me in life, it's always been a point where I've had my biggest successes from having that setback, because it's always given me ideas, or it's always changed direction for me to be able to go into something which I didn't expect to be there. And even if whatever the thing you're doing, it might be running, might be Hyrox, might be lifting, if you're shit at it to start with, by default you will win and you will get there if you just stay consistent and never quit, because if you never quit, you can never fail. But even with this, I still believe that everything is your own fault. Like, even for me getting injured, it was probably a case of overtraining, not really recovering properly. And even with illnesses that I've had recently, it's been a case where I've not probably looked after my immune system as much as I should have. By law of averages, everybody's gonna get ill in the year at some point, and we're all gonna have those setbacks which takes us out of training. But before I get the tiny violin out, I think it is important that you take accountability for everything. That's why I say I believe everything is your fault, because if whatever you give the blame to is where you can take responsibility from. And if everywhere you go smells like shit, it's probably time to smell your own feet. And that's what I'm a big believer of today, and it's about taking accountability for those setbacks, then putting a process in place so we can kick on and improve. So threshold session boxed off for the week. I would say if you're looking at doing threshold sessions, probably don't put more than 1 to 2 of them per weekend, just because when you are working it, heart rate zone 4 or 5, it's always going to be more taxing, especially on what we just talked about, your immune system. So it's all about base building, and we want to try and get a lot of zone 2 work in. Like we spoke about before, building that base of the triangle so that you can build that VO2 max and do those threshold sessions more comfortably. But the goals for this season are going to be, the first one's going to be October Hyrox, which you're going to be doing, which is me and Lucy, our first debut. And I suppose as long as that doesn't end in a domestic, it'll be successful. But the goal, obviously, whenever we're training for that is, especially for me and Lucy, is going to be to try and win. And that's what it'll be with training. The goal will be to train to win. After that, we've got Marseille Pro solo. That's going to be the first pro. And the goal with that would just be to try and beat my solo time in London, which is open. So if I can get a better time in pro than I got in open, that'll be the goal, which will really show my fitness has come on. Then we've got a bike race that we're booking in, hopefully with Nutty Foodie Fitness, which will be a good change of scenery, just because I've been doing a lot of bike recently anyway. And then the last one, which I think is next April or March, is we've got an ultra booked in, which is running from Manchester to Liverpool, so that's going to be a spicy one. Can I just get So one of the things that you just will see me working on is the new launch of the campaign for the My Coach app, which is a new coach coming to the app, and it is the world champion, Lucy Procter. It's been a great campaign. If you want to find out more about it and the program that she's released, it's a 12-week program for anyone who's looking to level up in their Hyrox and advance, whether it be your second or third race, or you be an athlete who's got a good fitness level already. And that's one of the reasons why this has also been an imperfect situation, time, with my prep. It's just because I've been focused on my business a lot, and that's fine, because sometimes in life other priorities will come up, and sometimes that's just what happens. We have to move and shift our energy depending on what comes up, and a lot of the time you won't really see me speak about business too much, but it is something that takes up a large amount of my time, but it's something that I also enjoy doing. So hopefully this has been helpful. See you next one.